Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at NIO. Morgan Stanley maintains bullish price target after record deliveries. The electric vehicle maker NIO reported on Saturday delivery numbers of 20,544 vehicles, making it the best monthly results ever. In a new research note, Morgan Stanley said NIO's record deliveries in May were in line with the raised expectations as the firm keeps the $10 price target. Morgan Stanley price target implies an upside potential of about 85% as the firm keeps the overweight rating on the share. The SUV sales ES6 plus ES7 plus ES8 and EC6 rose 38% month over month to 12.2K units, and the sedan models made up 30% month over month to 8.4K units. NIO renewed its promotion package on June the 1st, leaving the BSAS offered unchanged, but reducing battery swap vouchers from 60 to 40%, the analyst stated. The firm says the focus is now shifting to margin figures and to the guidance for the second quarter that will be provided by the management on the upcoming earnings calls on June the 6th. All eyes on order, sustainability, and margins. NIO share price has outperformed this week's on positive sector movements and raised expectations on Q2 volume guidance, backed by solid order momentum, Morgan Stanley analyst wrote. Ahead of the financial results from the first quarter, teams say forecast more volatility, while waiting for more details on the order backlog for NIO first sub-brand, Onvu. And here's a statement from Tim, and I quote, "We expect more stock volatility ahead of the Q1 print due June 6, and believe further upside will hinge on more bullish comments on the order, margin, outlook, as well as further color on Onvu." So it would certainly seem that I'm not the only So it would appears that I'm not just the only one who's impressed by the delivery numbers from NIO in May. You got to keep in mind, this is just May alone. This is not Q1 alone. This is just May. I believe in Q1 they delivered over 66,000 vehicles. That's incredibly impressive, despite everything that they've said about NIO to do with negativity. And I'll always reiterate, NIO right now is literally like an unstoppable train. It really is. It is an unstoppable train going at unbelievable speeds. NIO delivered 20,544 vehicles in May 2024. Representing a substantial increase of 233% year-over-year growth. Now, I've already discussed some of these figures briefly, but try to keep in mind, this is those figures on a chart. This is what it looks like in 2023. In 2023, you can see it started off good in January and February, and even in March, but certainly April and May were not the best months for NIO. In fact, in May, they almost delivered half the same amount of deliveries they did in February last year. While this year, 2024, it's polar opposite. It's going up like this. Last year was a little bit like that. It was a little bit unpredictable. This year's just like that. You can see deliveries are not to be mistaken. Now you might say, well, in February, they didn't break their delivery record of 12,000, but in March, they did. In April, they certainly did. And in May, they definitely did that beyond anyone's expectation. In fact, they almost tripled their delivery in May, year over year. So it's just like I said, this company is an unstoppable machine, an unstoppable train, and its destination is right at Tesla's doorstep. It's right at VW's doorstep, Audi's doorstep, Mercedes and BMW. It's coming right at those companies. That's a destination. And in fact, if anything, it perhaps will surpass those companies because NIO's going at this in a very different manner. Here's a very interesting development. Chinese EV makers, Li Auto, NIO, XPeng, they've reported sales surges as price war looms buyers. China's top electric vehicle maker increases deliveries by up to 36% month on month in May as promotional campaign and low prices lure consumers. But analysts warned the earnings outlook is dire as price war rages on. Shanghai-based NIO, 20,544 vehicles to consumers in mainland China, beating a monthly delivery record of 20,462 in May in July of 2023 last year. So they beat their record without a problem, and they did that early. Now, if you look at another company that I'm actually in favor of, Li Auto, their deliveries, it rose by 23.9% year on year and 33.8% compared to April to 35,020 vehicles, the company's highest total this year. XPeng in Guangzhou reported a 35.2% year-over-year jump and an 8% month-on-month rise to 10,146 units. I've always been amazed by Li Auto, just how well they've done in the EV space. And they only deliver in China. Same with XPeng at the moment, I believe they're only really delivering in China. But I want to see more of these companies invest and deliver out their brand in the European region and the Americas region. Now, BYD, on the other hand, the leading EV maker in China and globally, has yet to publish its delivery numbers for May. In April, the company handed over 313 vehicles, 313,245 vehicles. These are all electric vehicles, including plug-in hybrid and pure electric ins. In April, the company handed over 313,245 electric vehicles, including plug-in hybrids and pure plug-ins, up 49% year on year and 3.6% from March. Hold on a minute. They're up 49% year on year. And apparently this was only in April. Now, granted, this is not just full electric vehicles, they're also hybrids as well. So here's a closer look at that. Now, it'd be better to understand which of these vehicles exactly were electric, full electric, which ones were plug-in hybrids, which one were pure plug-ins. It'd be great to get a better understanding of that, and I will try my best. But it's very interesting to see how all of these are Chinese companies, just as NIO. A lot of these companies are actually following a very similar footprint. They're actually following a very similar strategy, if you to say. But even more impressive is just how the media views the success of these companies. BYD's Q1 EV sales dropped 43%, citing world's biggest EV seller, titled to Tesla. Despite experiencing a Q1 decline, BYD still demonstrates a 13.4 year-over-year increase in sales compared to the corresponding period last year. It is not just BYD, all companies sell less in Q1 than they do in Q4. But people often mistake this. People often think, well, if you build up from Q1 to Q2 to Q4 and you're constantly doing better and better, and in Q4 you deliver your most, then by logic, the following period, which is Q1 the following year, should be even better. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works with any company, if I'm being completely honest. Let's look at Tesla. Actually, Tesla might be one of the best examples to look at because we're looking at NIO, we're looking at BYD, but we're also looking at Tesla. In Q4, Tesla deliveries, this is how well they did. Absolutely incredible. Almost 500,000 vehicles delivered. The ones in yellow is the ones they've delivered, just to make that clear. And the ones in gray are also the ones they've delivered, just to make that clear. Best delivering vehicle Model 3 and Model Y, of course. That was 461,000, okay? That was in Q4 last year. However, in Q1 this year, it's only 369,000. If you're going to write an article about BYD declining compared Q4 to Q1, well, you need to write an article about Tesla also in a decline from Q4 to Q1. But this, of course, is a natural occurrence. It happens quite often. In fact, it rarely never happens. For instance, in Q4 2022 compared to Q1 2023, vastly different. Tesla hit the ground running. But this is a very rare situation. And let's be honest, Tesla can be the rare exception because of their incredible capacity to deliver vehicles and build vehicles at scale. Their long-term investment in, efficiency and manufacturing plans. Tesla has the means, they have the facility to optimize, to deliver such numbers like they did in Q1 2023 compared to Q4 2022. But you can see this year, it hasn't been that easy. You might say, oh, it's because Tesla's having a lot of competition from Chinese companies in regards to the price war. Well, actually, Most Chinese companies deliver vehicles in China except for BYD. Most Chinese companies like Li Auto, XPeng, NIO, all of these companies, they deliver mostly in China. Tesla is the biggest EV brand worldwide, and BYD follows that. And BYD is growing this, of course. In fact, I believe they're building their factory in Mexico, which would give them great trade access to the US. This was actually told to me by a commenter. I must do more research into this to understand it better. My point is, Q1 is usually where companies are off to a rough start. So you see, sometimes when you see these articles, you see the headlines, you have to read throughout. You have to read throughout. Well, you don't have to, but it's advisable. It's certainly the most sensible thing to do to get a proper picture of what's going on. But despite all of this, Chinese companies like NIO, Li Auto, XPeng, and especially BYD, they're like an unstoppable train. Despite everything you throw at them, they continue to excel. And I'd imagine we're going to get something very similar from NIO this year. We're looking at anywhere from 180 vehicles to 100 and we're looking at anywhere from 180,000 vehicles to 200,000 vehicles delivered this year for NIO. So that is it for today's video. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.